Hi, welcome back to my channel. Have you ever felt like you had to be less than who you were meant to be? Because people in your past, including even parents, told you were too much, too sensitive, or too wild? I can relate. In this video, I'm going to show you how dimming my light to keep other people comfortable led to me losing my identity. Why I want to champion us all to stand firm in our true identities, refusing to shrink and be less than what we came here to be. Hi, I'm Sandy. So I had a recent example that I wanted to share with you that I never realized that I've never been diagnosed ADHD. Back in the day, they didn't do those things. Like, you had to be stereotypical ADHD to be identified as that. Well, recently I had the situation. I'm on a dating website for the mere purpose of education. Where I'm at, it's just, I've come to the conclusion that I live in a small town. Just what I'm looking for is not going to happen here. So I've had this suggested to me before too, is that dating apps are great practice in saying no and defining, helping you with your identity and figuring out what are your non-negotiables, what are preferences, and just the practice. Growing up with generational trauma, growing up with narcissistic people. I've watched any of my stuff. Not sure if my dad's just bipolar or a narcissist. I don't know. It's a moot point at this point. It's just a moot point. Well, anyways, it's gotten to the point on this particular dating app that there's not a whole lot of interaction with anybody at this point. So this one guy actually made it through all my non-negotiables, which are at least, there's probably 3, but he made it through my non-negotiable, which is exciting because very few men around here do make it through that. One being, I am allergic to animals. A lot of people do like animals, and I have nothing wrong with animals. My daughter loves animals, but I am highly allergic to anything with fur. So that weeds out a lot of people. So really excited about the opportunity to talk to this gentleman. He sounded very interesting. He didn't have any pets. He didn't smoke, which is another thing. I have asthma. Not gonna work. And he did pass the third one, which sadly a lot of guys don't. But that's for a different video. So I was excited. It was a rare opportunity. He was actually attractive, and he wasn't gross. If any of you have watched or been on a dating app, sometimes I'm sure both sides can be gross. So I was pretty excited. So I don't know if me coming out with my intention. I know who I'm looking for. I've taken time to learn more about myself, so I know what I'm looking for. I know my non-negotiables, so I don't know if neurotypical people just ask one question and then don't message anything for. I don't like small talk. I don't know if that's autistic stuff or ADHD stuff or what, but I'm not going to sit there and talk about what we did for the weekend because mine's pretty boring. I'm trying to finish my bachelor's degree. That's what I was doing. So there's not much of a conversation there. I don't like small talk. Small talk is just not my thing. So I'm not going to sit here and waste my time with somebody if we can't have a conversation. That's super important to me. If somebody can't hold a conversation, then that's not going to work. Here's the too much part though. So I was really excited. I haven't been that excited in a long time because I didn't think that I would ever find anybody to remotely talk to here. So that met the non-negotiables. So I was really excited. And I noticed that when I was really excited, I wanted to text a lot. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, I've been practicing doing this. And it was interesting that I call them mile markers. I call them mile markers for everything. Not everything, but when you're driving, the mile markers on the road. So since I don't get to that mile marker very often, I was all excited. And I even mentioned that I had some ADHD characteristics or traits or something. So I don't know. And normally this is where my mind would go into all these different things of what I said wrong, what I did wrong, did I go too fast, was I too much, and just asking that. But I've also learned that, and this was the hardest thing to learn, was that if I'm always asking questions because I'm excited, that doesn't give the other person the opportunity and the space to ask their questions. So I don't know if me asking the 3 questions that I normally ask, if that was too much too fast. I don't think so. And I'm not going to mask myself. I will say sort of socially acceptable. I don't know how you want to look at it, but I asked my 3 questions. I said, hey, I might not have a whole lot of other questions that I can think of because I don't usually get this far. And I said, I'm really interested in getting to know you better. I think he asked something about driving, if I liked road trips. So I answered his question. I answered it fully in how I would normally fully do it, not in the shortened version that, I don't know, gurus might tell me to do or whatever. I'm not going to do that anymore. And I didn't take up space in that regard. Sometimes I learned that I need to take up space. And in this regard, because I get so excited that I take up space and I don't leave other people the opportunity to participate. Toward the end of the conversation, I could have asked more questions, but I wanted to give him that space. So I did. It was later in the evening, so I thought maybe he fell asleep because he didn't respond. Normally I would have sent something just to see if he was still there yet. I was good. Normally I'd be thinking about a bazillion different things. Oh, he doesn't like me. Oh, I need to talk more. My brain would go on and on and on and on. But I was fine. We'll see if he messages me in the morning. If he doesn't, whatever, no big deal. So the next morning I opened the app up and deleted. He totally ghosted me. He asked me maybe 2 questions. That was it. And then deleted me. So here is what I took away from that. And this is what I wanted to share with everybody. I kept on, in the past, I would have not, well, first of all, I didn't know that I probably have ADHD, but I would have kept on asking more questions just to keep the conversation going. I would have felt like completely dropped. I don't know if you've ever felt dropped. I felt like that way in my marriage sometimes before. That has to do with abuse. In closing, what that whole situation taught me, or that revealed to me, was that in the past, when I would get excited like that, I can't even describe to you what that feels like on the inside, that excitedness. I understand that the outward expression can look intense to some people, and I never knew that. Not bad. It's just happiness. And a lot of people that I've at least been around don't know what to do with the littlest bit of happiness, more or less that exuberant excitement that I have. I remember in school, it didn't happen often, I think it was first grade, that we got something. It was something that was like a book or something. I was just so excited. I was jumping up and down because I was going to get something new or something that was fun, or because I loved the teacher. I don't remember always jumping up and down, but I remember that specific situation. And of course, they had me sit back down. I couldn't get the thing if I didn't sit down. So what I've learned from all of these situations, there's more, but I just wanted to bring up those 2 because this recent excitement reminded me of why I would always dim my light. No one wanted to see that. It was just such an intense energy that they didn't have the capacity to witness that, which led me to this thought that I want to share with you. The hard truth is that we were never made to fit in. That's why I was always trying to fit in. So I would dim my light. I would dim my excitement so other people felt comfortable. I would go with what I intuitively felt that they would be comfortable with, not what was best for me. So I've gotten really good at being rejected by a whole host of people, not just on dating websites. If you haven't watched my generational trauma playlist, I suggest checking it out. I had to accept the fact that I was born to stand out. If we don't stand out, we can't break cycles. I am passionate about breaking generational trauma, not only for my children, but for everybody else out there too. We were meant to shine brightly. I learned that I was born to take up space, break cycles, and shine brightly. If you feel similar to anything that I've mentioned, that you just get excited and no one wants to be around you, or you feel like you have to dim your light or mask or whatever, if something resonates with your heart and you want to talk more about it, you can comment below, or I have a link in the description to book a call with me. I hope this was helpful. If you're looking for more information or more videos, check out here and here. See you later.